pipes.
Hello and welcome to After Credits Podcast. On this week's episode, we're talking about
Yep, we.
Speaking of Evil. So this is a new horror thriller, I guess, set in the UK, James McAvoy. And do you want to go into some positives outright, Brandon?
Well, I mean, like going in, I thought the trailers were pretty shocking. So I kind of thought it was going to be bad, even though James McAvoy is always good. He's never like disappointed me. So I was pleased to see that the film's actually pretty decent. I think honestly, like for the type of film it is as well, I think it does a good job setting up sort of twists because like you know what the plot is. You know what I mean? You know these guys are going to be dodgy. You know what I mean? It's like there's no hiding it. So I'm glad there were other twists that they were sort of setting up to pay off as well. It's not just, oh yeah, we're bad guys, by the way. You know. So I mean, yeah, I guess we're going to full spoilers as well. Um, yeah, bugger it. So the main two twists I was talking about is the first one with the whole children. Obviously, his kid isn't even his kid. Like he's been stealing the kids of the couples he's been bringing over, essentially, right? I thought that was really interesting. Which kind of like, as in, I imagine if you look back and like watch it from the start again, you'll see all the sort of hints that the son's not his kind of thing. But the big one for me, and this isn't even like played on that much, it's just like literally one line, is the fact that his wife was one of the kids, and probably the first kid as well.
Well,
And I was like, holy crap.
They set that up early because there's a conversation where the husband and wife that we see in the film,
Yeah,
they do mention like, oh, how old was she when they met?
yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
do set that up.
I didn't clock that though, in the sense of like, I didn't think like, oh, that must be one of the kids or something. He still didn't think about that once from a bit. I just thought he was a bit of a weird guy, like dating young or something like that, you know?
I still think it's a little bit. I mean, I don't know if it's ambiguous because they don't really deal with it any longer than those two lines, basically.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's just her like trying to use a last resort to self-preserve herself, essentially,
Mm-hmm.
or if she's actually telling the truth. But like, it doesn't really matter because she's still batshit. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's just like nice, something to play on your mind, I guess, like you say on a rewatch. But
Yeah, no, it's good. Again, like I don't like it when things are overly explained. So even if just like the thought of her being the first child that he took or whatever, that's crazy. You know, like, it adds to
yeah,
the film as well.
I
Um,
think
yeah,
in keeping in just general thoughts of the film, I think it doesn't really do anything. It's not like breaking the mold,
nah,
but it's just competent at what it's doing. I think it's just it's paint by numbers, but it's a nice painting at the end. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah. I
not
mean, I think it does a good job, like kind of showing like a broken relationship as well. You know what I mean? Like because they're kind of like
gonna recover. Yeah,
yeah, because it's like at first you kind of think, oh, these are like happy family on holiday and stuff, but then like later in the line you realize, oh no, things have been bad and have been bad for quite a while. You know what I mean? So they're trying to
and
recuperate.
it's also
You know?
they leave that slightly ambiguous as well. It's like because he thinks it's just like a text, right, to some other guy, like a
Yeah,
teacher. I think he said at one point, but you could easily spin it another way where it's like he doesn't realize yet because like that's what McAvoy plays on at the end, right? Where he's like, oh,
mm,
you think it was just a text? How do you know? Basically, like it could be
yeah,
anything. So
yeah. I do like how they kind of because like as a guy, you'd usually back the male in this situation, right? Because you could see their point of view a little bit more clearer, right? And I'm sure women would for her as well. But I think they did a really good job making them both like, nah, you've both like not done a good job in this relationship. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like obviously the husband's done bad stuff, the wife's done bad stuff, but they're equally just like not
and
in
the
the
film's not trying to justify any one
yeah.
of them as right or wrong. It's just
Exactly. Which I
saying
was really
like
like worried that they were going to do that because I hate stuff like that when they're trying to really push this like narrative or whatever. But I think they did a good job making them both kind of sympathetic in that sense. But it felt more of like a natural thing. It's not like it was like this from the start. It definitely felt like their
yeah.
relationship deteriorated over time, and it's just been, you know, because you kind of I totally picked up on like the little clue because it wasn't like said until the dinner scene where like oh yeah they haven't like been in bed for a long time. You know what I mean? It's like there was subtle hints before that. You know.
That's when
So
everyone in math theater started. All the guys started nudging all their
oh
girls
really
next to them,
really.
like here
Good.
once a month. Listen to the man. Listen to the crazy McAvoy man.
Yeah, man. So I like that. I like the little subtle stuff like that as well. I think they did a good job.
Yeah. I actually was going to come into this review kind of saying I like this quite a bit, but I can't see myself really rewatching it. But actually, now the more we've talked about it, I'm like, maybe I do want to rewatch it.
Mm. Just for the subtle hints,
Yeah.
which I don't think a lot of new horror films have done well doing. They're just more of like an experience and then it's done. But this one, I'm kind of like, oh, like I wonder if I'll pick up on stuff earlier on.
And just in case anyone in the audience is unaware, this is also based on a Danish film of the same name.
Mm.
Only came out like a couple of years ago, so it's like a pretty quick turnaround for like an American remake sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's
What?
also a well-reviewed film,
Yeah,
but
it
I
is.
haven't seen that one.
I watched a little McAvoy interview, and he was essentially saying like the purpose of making this film is just to kind of show it to a bigger audience, because obviously not a lot of people are going to watch a subtitled film like that.
Yeah.
But I think they did a good job. Again, I can't like you, I can't speak on behalf of the other film, but I thought it was just a really solid film. I'm actually going to look up how it's rated on other
Well,
sites.
the other reason I brought it up is specifically was because in my mind, this film kind of only works because, not worked, but it only kind of excels, I think, because of McAvoy. Because when he's being charming and trying to like encourage these people to do what he wants, he's really charming doing it.
Yeah.
You know? And when he's having anger issues, you fucking feel it. And like when there's conflict, you feel it.
Mhm.
And when there's conflict in him, and like when he realizes things, it's like again, it doesn't tell you. You just need a look from him, and it's like, oh, he knows what's going on. He's a smart guy. You know what I mean? Like he's not stupid. So
Yeah, 100%.
it's very efficient that way.
I was saying to my colleague, James McAvoy might have like the best like acting range from like any actor I can think of, because like he went from Mr. Dumbness to Professor X to the guy from Split. So it's like he could do anything. You know what I mean? He could be like this innocent character. He could be this evil character. He could be this mentor character. You know what I mean? So he's just so good
Top it all
at
off.
what
He's
he does.
Scottish. Yes.
You know what I mean? Well,
But,
yeah, 100%.
well, the reason I bring up the Danish version of the film as well is just that's a fact is that basically the way the film is like this one, like if you take McAvoy out and put someone else in who's not necessarily as good an actor, I don't think this film's nearly as intriguing.
Yeah, there's a reason why he's on the poster and why he's on all the advertising.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he is the film. Yeah.
That also makes me want to watch the Danish one more because he's not in it, and obviously that film is still well reviewed.
Mm.
So it would be interesting to see because I don't know how much of this performance is informed by the original and how much it is like McAvoy taking that on. Yeah, it would be a really interesting comparison, and we might do that at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is like the star of this film, absolutely.
He is, and that doesn't mean like everyone else is bad, because they're not. It's just that he's so good. Like, he's so like captivating. Like you're watching him every scene. You know what I mean?
You spend a lot of time with him, and like he's the focal point of almost every scene. Like even when it's other characters, unless he's not there, he's basically the focal point of the scene. That's who you're watching.
Yeah.
Because he's the one. Because basically, as well, the thing I like about this film is, and the reason I say it's not breaking the mold, but it's more like you're not waiting for a twist. You're waiting for what you know is coming. That's where the tension comes from.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the whole film from the get go, from the trailers, because actually I think the trailers go too much at the end of this film, but and well, or at least like things with the little boy. Like I don't think they should have showed that shit.
Or the cutting the tongue thing.
Yeah. That should not have been in the. And actually, that was a really cringy scene in the trailer as well. I wish they didn't put that in at all.
Yeah.
And it's actually in context, it's quite a good scene here.
It is, yeah.
So it basically had a lose putting that in the trailer. So again, par for the course on this podcast. Basically, the marketing has completely fucking let this down again. Well, at least in our opinion, my opinion. Yeah, it's not breaking the mold. It's just doing something really efficiently, really well. And it's not a long film. It gets moving, and
it does its job well. You know what I mean? It's not meant to be this new freaking groundbreaking film. It's just meant to, like, it's done the job well. You know what I mean? You got what you paid for, and it was good. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't really ask for more at that point. You know?
But it isn't like a type of film where you're looking for a new character to come in and save the day, or you're looking for a twist, or you're like, oh, what's going on here? You know there's something shady going on from the get-go. The way he talks to people, the little looks he gives his wife and stuff like that. He talks that there's a kind of theme in this where he only acknowledges men. He doesn't acknowledge the women in the same way.
Yeah.
So he says something to the wife. Oh, it's the vegetarian, because she's a vegetarian and he feeds her meat. And then when he realized, but like when he comes across like he realizes to them, he apologizes to the husband. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry I did that to your wife." He doesn't apologize to her, and then the camera kind of lingers on her,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of a theme he like throughout this as well. That he's obviously has a detrimental view of women, or at least like
Yeah.
he looks down on women, and that's just like it's not anything that they go, "Oh, you look down on women, you're a bad man." It's just like they just let it happen in the scene,
Mm-hmm.
and it's quite nice just to let it sit
Yeah,
there,
it's
and
a
you're like,
power
"Oh,
play. It's a
add it to
power
the
play.
pile." Yeah, yeah.
You know, but he does it to the guy as well, because like the guy, the dad is very like, timid. You know what I mean? So so there's a clear like difference between them both. So I actually really like the scenes where it's just them two, because you could see he's trying to like bring out that beast in him or whatever. Yeah, but it still doesn't work because even doesn't even get the kill at the end of the day. But but like he can't even do that. But
Well, and I think that speaks more to the theme of parenthood, right? Is
yeah.
that it's the kid that kills him, and they have a discussion earlier on where he's like, basically, you become your parents, so you learn from them
Yeah.
at the dinner table.
Yeah, I
And it's
like
like
that.
he's
Yeah.
raised that little boy, even though it wasn't his son. So like
hmm
for him to kill him at the end, that's like a fulfillment of, oh, I've raised you.
Yeah.
You're now part of me is in you, whether you like it or not, which is
100%.
quite nice.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. To go on a negative, and I don't have many honestly. One of them is like it's not like even like s- it's not even about this film. It's mainly about the genre, but they did it a lot in this film, where it's just like making stupid choices as like the main character, where it's like
Yes.
they could have escaped the house. So like they were literally out the house for a period, you know what I mean? But no, they had to go back and get the toy. You know what I mean? It's like I get it. They set it up. I actually find it funny because my sister is very much like that. She has like her like teddy. She doesn't go anywhere without. So I related hard. I could like picture myself in that scene like, oh my god, we need to go back. But it's like at the same time, you know these guys are loopy. You know what I mean? But at the same time,
I
we know that the film's going to turn into like a freaking massacre. You know what I mean? So like they don't know that. They don't know it's that level. They just think they're odd folk. You know, at that point anyway. But there were many times where I'm like, you could have gotten away, man. Like I know you want to save the kid, but like Jesus Christ, like even say in this film, it's like you're such a good father that you left your own family to save a kid that's not even yours. You know, it's like, god damn, you know.
the bunny is the most egregious one by far.
Which one,
By
sorry?
far. The bunny.
The bunny, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Poppy or whatever the
Yeah.
fuck they call it. But that is the most egregious one. You do not, you know what I mean? Like if you're going step by step and you're going through the textbook of how to write a screenplay, it makes sense. They've set it up
Yeah.
and you know it's coming. And when they get in the car, you know they've left it. That doesn't necessarily mean it's satisfying. Just because you set something up doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a satisfying thing. And you actually get that, like, the characters are also getting that, like, oh, we're not actually going back, are we?
Yeah.
But I don't think that when you feel that as the audience and you have that same reaction the characters are having, I don't feel like that's still not good. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a good. You could take that out and the film wouldn't really change all that much. Just give them any other excuse to go back.
Yeah.
Something more important than a fucking like therapy bunny. Like I get it, she's worked up, but then you know what I mean. You put her in one situation of danger, and she's completely like free from the bunny. And I guess that's like
Mm.
again, that's like an arc for her. Is that she passes the bunny to the kid at the end. She doesn't want it anymore, which she didn't
Yeah,
need it
like
anymore.
I'm
Right?
glad it played a part. You know, it wasn't just a throwaway. Oh, we need a reason to get them back, kind of thing.
Yeah.
At least it was tied in. But yeah, it's just like stuff like that. It does make you dislike the victims because you're like, God damn, you could have got away like so many times.
Well, not even they could have got away. Like they literally were, and it's
Yeah.
like you don't think you could have done something more sensible, like drop them off at the nearest town and say, "All right, darling, don't worry, I'm going back for it by myself."
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like it's not like they didn't have options, and like usually what happens in a film is that they start to take away the options, and
hmm
that's what leads to stupid decisions. Is that it's the last one you make, at
Yeah.
least if you do it well. It's the only one you can make. This one, it's like, well, there were options, you know what I mean? And it's like, or you just fucking you tell her to suck it the fuck up, like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's got a point, like, because that's the thing. That's another part, I guess, like with the conflict between the main husband and wife is that he's obviously a bit more strict on the daughter,
hmm
but he doesn't really back it up with like proper parenting. He just kind of dismisses it, whereas she's
Yeah.
like too mollycoddled as well.
Yeah.
Like you see their issues through her as well.
hmm
But in that scenario, fucking leave the bunny, bro. Like 100%.
Yeah.
Not even from a movie point of view, but just like in the film, like no, you were not going back for that thing. And that's the worst one. Like if I could take a little like sequence out of the film, it would 100% be that because it just made my eyes roll. But
100%. Yeah. But I did like when they did return the mother's excuse because I thought I bought it, you know, and I know she's bad, you know what I mean. And I'm like, she convinced me. I was like, oh yeah, no, fair enough, yeah, you're sympathetic and that, But I'm like, God damn it, you tricked me. But it's just because everyone's a good actor in this film, really. Even the little girl, the son, obviously, doesn't speak much, literally. So it's hard to judge him that much. But no, everyone did a good job. I'm trying to think if there's any other issues. I can't like think of any. It's actually quite a funny film as well. Actually, like this is a little bit of comedy,
Yeah,
whether it's just like little snippets or like it's like a OMG like freaking facepalm moment, but when he throws the Molotov and it just freaking doesn't crack. You know what I mean?
limp dick through. Yeah,
Honestly, at least the thing in the car, but like,
and well, the funniest thing about that as well is the fucking when the McAvoy realizes, and he's like, what's he say? He shouts, "Oh, you blew up my car, you cheeky cunt," or
yeah,
some
yeah,
shit
yeah.
like that.
That's
That
it.
was a really funny line.
That's it.
The I think there was quite a few like meme-worthy little segments as well, but you also kind of get McAvoy kind of has that like
Lad energy.
Andrew Tate kind of bro energy
Yeah, he does.
where he starts talking about things as if they're like very cut and dry, and he's like, "Oh yeah," but then it's like he's in his own little world,
Mm.
and he's like speaking as if it's true, and then the wife, the main character's wife, she kind of pushes back, and she's like, "Oh, well, this is what I think about the world," and he's like, "Oh, well, things are complex, yeah, of course," and
Mm.
then he just dismisses it. He's not really like suited to being challenged in any way, especially by a woman,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it doesn't come across like, "Oh, it's a woman challenging a man." It's just they're having a discussion, but you can see it through him where he's like, "This is not okay. You need to
Yeah,
tell your wife to
it's
stop talking to me like
it's
that."
only because like the dad, I can't remember his name, but the father figure, he never stands up to him verbally, so it's like you don't get that um back and forth between them, whereas the mother does. So it's not like a gender thing. It's just a power dynamic, It's just we're only seeing
Their personality.
that gender go against each other and stuff. But they actually ruined one of the like twists or jokes in the trailer where he's like, I'm not a doctor, and then and then they laugh and it's like, I am a bloody doctor. That's in the
Yeah.
trailer. It's like, to me in the film that's like one of the big like, oh my god, he slipped up, or like they found out
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like if that's in the trailer, it's like, oh my god, like that's such a giveaway, you know. Um, but yeah, like I said, the marketing was shocking. Like I'm actually surprised it's done decent. I'm looking up the box office now just to have a little look, but I don't even know what would be considered good for this type of film because it's obviously low budget. Um,
But there's also like towards the end, just it does become essentially like Home Alone, essentially. Just
Essentially, yeah,
like,
yeah.
but it's someone else's home you're in, I guess. They're trying to break into their own. But
hmm Or, or,
the
or no, my main one is when they're locked in the basement and then they get the upper hand. I'm like, bro, kill him. You literally had your daughter ready to like mutilate her face. You know what I mean? Like you had the shotgun. You could have ended it there. But no, they like locked them in, and then obviously the other lad shows up. But just stuff like that. But again, that's in every horror thriller film. It's like it's not nothing new. It's just it irks me when I see stupid freaking characters. Um, but yeah, I mean, is there anything else you want to like bring up? I'm trying to think of anything else that stuck out for me.
again, I think you can enjoy this on a rewatch, but I'm not like I don't think I'm like eager to go for a rewatch. Like I
Yeah,
think I would probably only rewatch this with someone else. I wouldn't watch this film
yeah.
again
If
on my
like
own.
if you were on a lad's holiday, got the Netflix on, put it on. It's
Or
like it's
yeah,
definitely
your
that type
girlfriend or the
of
person.
film.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go back to the cinema on that. I can't be bothered doing that. But I'd totally recommend though. Like it's totally a passable film. You know?
Oh yeah, the other funny bit was the when he was talking to the Danish guy at the table, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're moaning about this Danish, and I'm assuming that's the connection to like the other one is
Mm.
that they put that Danish character in as like oh this is where the kind of thing came from, but essentially they don't like that Danish family. They just talk all the time. So then he said something like, "Oh, we're discussing whether you crunch or like whether you fold up or whether you scrunch your shit roll, basically once you've
Yeah.
used it." And like that's quite funny as well. Like there's a lot of like on the edge uncle lines that they give
hmm
McAvoy.
It's just good though, because like, early on you totally understand what type of guy he is, right? Because there's three instances, right? There's that one. There's when he takes the girl on the motorbike, or freaking what would you call it, fagio or something.
Yeah, yeah. A
Uh,
little Vespa.
that Vespa, that's it. And literally the first time you see him, when he's like, "Oh, is someone sitting there?" and he just fucking drags it, makes a loud noise. You know what I mean? He's so like obnoxious, you know. So it's like instantly you understand who he is. You don't really get much of the other family yet. They kind of build up as they go on. But for James McAvoy's character, you just instantly get it. And I like stuff like that because to me, as I'm trying to like write and stuff my own characters, introduction to a character is quite important. I think so to have something memorable like that, it's like, all right, they stick out to me instantly. So I'll
You
try
know,
and keep an eye on that.
that's a really great point, actually. That first scene is basically illustrative of everyone's, like, how they get away with what they get away with.
Mm,
Because they're sitting on their own at the pool. The little girl's like making noise, and the mum says, "Stop making noise, you're bothering other people."
yeah,
Right? And McAvoy comes up and he's just like, he does what he wants, and he's
yeah,
not going to take any questions about it. He's just doing what he wants. And he literally takes the chair from them, and that's kind of illustrative of his point at the end, is that they only got to this point because the family let them get to that point.
yeah,
It's like the frog in water. It's like you can't just go for the jugular. He's wanting to play with his food, and there's a line like that as well later on where he's like, "Why don't you just fucking kill these guys?" But he wants the
it's
hunt.
the hunt.
That's the thing. He doesn't want to kill. He wants the hunt.
Mm,
But they let him hunt them. They could at
100%.
any point say like, on because like for me, if you were a father and your daughter, you meet a complete stranger and like you've maybe met them at the pool, but this guy gets on a moped around the corner. I get the wife's there, and that's where the comfort comes from. Is that, oh, he's got like collateral. He needs to come back essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But like if your daughter's sitting in front of a complete stranger on a Vespa, like that's like over the line already.
Yeah.
But he's like testing the waters for how much he can make them do
Mm-hmm.
over and over, you know. And they're doing that through the child because they have like their own child, well, someone else's, but like seemingly their child. They use the little boy to get to the little girl to get to the parents essentially.
Yeah. And they even bring up like when they get the little letter, they're like, "Oh, we've only known him for like a week. Like we can't stay over at this house. Like that's a bit too far." It's like, yeah, it is. Of course it is. You barely know the guy, and he's
Yeah.
clearly like a bit wild, you know. But to go back to that first scene, because I do think it is really important. Like, and you were kind of getting on at it. It does set up everyone perfectly because it sets up everything you need to know for the rest of the film. Because even the dad looks over to McAvoy and his wife, like drinking and stuff, and he looks over to his wife and he's like, "Oh, I want a beer." Because he wants to be like that, you know. He wants to be confident and like have that type
Yeah.
of lifestyle. You know, his wife's not like that. But obviously, we don't know yet is that she's been mingling outside anyway, so she's over that. But yeah, no, you're totally right. It's such a perfect like introduction, I think. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm landing on about like a 7 for this film. I think it's like better than average. But it's not like
Probably did.
it's like a masterpiece by any means. But it's like
Yeah.
it does what it needs to do.
Probably 7.5. Probably agree.
And
Maybe.
I don't.
Well, maybe for what it is, like an 8 in the genre.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
Like yeah.
But for like what was I going to say? I don't think it's overly gory either. So it's not like you're going to turn people off that way. You know what I mean? It's like I guess it's like that one little bit at the end with the kid with the freaking brick.
It'll be
You know, but
there'll be the two scenes at the end with the wife falling off the roof and then the head getting smashed in.
yeah,
That will probably be the bit where your mum goes, "Oh," and then looks back at the TV. That'll be the extent of like
yeah,
how gory it
yeah,
gets, basically.
yeah, 100%.
I will say as well. I did tell you this last night, but for the audience, I
Mhm.
you always see those videos online of people saying things in the cinema or like just farting in like a quiet cinema and everyone laughs. And I've never had that personally in all my 24 years. And finally had it last night where some some old woman was watching the film, and when McAvoy's head gets caved in by the little boy, she's like she's like basically nudged over to her husband and went, "Is he dead?" in the complete silence, and everyone was laughing. I was like, sick. It was really fun. I know it was like totally off tone, but it was a really fun like
Yeah,
theater experience. So yeah, I'm down. But
goddamn.
yeah, so I mean, if you're into horror thriller, definitely check it out. Ideally, go see it at the cinema if it's still in. So
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a film you need to rush to see at the cinema. It's just cinemas
no,
ain't doing so hot, so
yeah.
I'd like to, you know,
We could
go to
do
the
it.
cinema.
To go on that point, it's
But
made 20 million. So that's pretty decent for the type of film it is. So I imagine the budget was like really low. So I imagine that's a
Blumhouse
decent
films
number
tend
for
to
it.
be low, right?
Yeah,
About 15 million, so it's probably still to break even, including like marketing and stuff like that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
hopefully it has legs because, you know, it's pretty accessible film as well. Like there's people of all ages in the cinema, so it's like, you know what I mean?
No, exactly. Like if I was to compare that to
Oh,
Long Legs, just as a quick comparison, like what do Long Legs make?
I do think this is,
Oh
yeah, this is
wow,
probably more accessible than Long Legs.
Long Legs made 100 million, like overall. by the end of its
Right.
run. So that's pretty decent though for the type of film that is. But that did have a big marketing. Like the marketing was really good for that film.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that compares. But yeah, I hope it does well though.
Good stuff.
Sweet.
Well, that seems to be our review. And yeah, go check it out if you've got time. So thanks for watching. See you next time.